All right, let's get right into it. Today, we're going to pull back the curtain on a company you've probably never heard of, but one that is absolutely essential to the entire AI revolution. We're doing a deep dive into the hidden boss of AI, a company called Entegris.
You know, we all hear the headlines, right? Nvidia this, GPUs that, the AI boom, and it's an amazing story, but it's really only half the picture. Because the secret sauce, the engine driving every single one of those mind-blowingly powerful chips, it isn't just software, it's chemistry. And without this, the whole thing just stops.
So that begs the question. If it's not just the big names we all know, who's really pulling the strings behind the scenes? Who's the one making it all possible?
Well, say hello to Entegris. The best way to think about them is as the ultimate picks and shovels supplier for this AI gold rush. They don't actually make the gold, the chips themselves, but they provide the absolutely essential, unbelievably pure materials that make mining that gold even possible.
Okay, so to really get why Entegris is so important, we have to talk about a massive challenge in the chip world. It's called the nanoscale purity problem. And honestly, the best analogy is this. Imagine trying to build an intricate Lego city in the middle of a sandstorm. That's pretty much what chip makers are up against every single day.
The number one enemy here is something called contamination. We're talking about a single microscopic speck of dust or a tiny unwanted chemical impurity. If one of those lands on a silicon wafer, poof, an entire batch of chips worth millions of dollars can be completely ruined. And as we make chips smaller and smaller, this problem gets exponentially harder.
Let me try to put this into perspective for you, because the scale is just mind-bending. When you're working at the 2-nanometer level, we are talking about structures that are just a few atoms wide. A single stray particle isn't just a little problem, it's a full-blown catastrophe. It's like a giant boulder crashing down into the middle of a dense city, wiping out everything. The margin for error is, well, it's zero.
So how in the world does Entegris solve this? It all comes down to absolute insane levels of purity. During a critical manufacturing step called deposition, where these atomic layers are built up on the chip, the materials used have to be completely, flawlessly pure. Entegris provides both these perfect materials and the advanced filtration systems to keep them pure throughout the process. And the result? Higher yields, which just means more working, valuable chips from every wafer.
And hey, don't just take my word for it. This is right from the horse's mouth. In their own 2025 10K filing, Entegris lays it out plain and simple. As chips get smaller and more complex, the need for their level of purity and material science becomes completely non-negotiable. This is the very foundation of their entire business.
Okay, let's switch gears and move to the financials, because this is where the story gets really interesting. We're going to decode their 2025 results and look for what I like to call the green flag, that hidden signal in the numbers that tells a much, much deeper story.
Now, at first glance, you might see this and kind of tilt your head. Net sales from 2024 to 2025 were down 1.4%. In a world that is obsessed with hockey stick growth, a negative number can feel like a red flag. But is it really?
Not always. In fact, in this case, I'd argue a tiny dip like this is actually a huge green flag. Why? Because you have to remember, the semiconductor industry is famously cyclical. It has these massive booms and then these temporary lulls. So showing this kind of stability, this resilience, during what was basically a down cycle for the whole industry, that is incredibly telling.
So if you look at the full income statement here, you can see the broader picture. But the real story, the most telling number, isn't just about sales or profits in a slow year. No. The real green flag is hidden in where they decided to put their money.
And here it is. They're spending on research and development. In a year where sales took a small dip, they didn't hit the panic button and start cutting costs. Nope, they doubled down. They actually increased their R&D investment to $329 million. That is a loud and clear signal that they are playing the long game. They're building the tech for the next wave.
So that R&D spending naturally leads us to the future. What's the major growth catalyst on the horizon for them? Let's break down exactly why the next few years look so incredibly promising for Entegris.
See, the future of semiconductors is all about these huge technological leaps. We're talking about totally new transistor designs like gate-all-around, stacking memory higher and higher with 3D NAND, introducing brand new materials like molybdenum. Every single one of these innovations represents a massive jump in complexity. And guess what? Every single jump demands more of what Entegris sells. More purity, more advanced materials, more filtration. For them, more complexity is a great thing. It literally equals more growth.
And this, right here, is such a critical piece of the puzzle.
Their business is what's called unit-driven. This means they're not totally tied to the boom and bust cycle of selling huge expensive machines. Their revenue is mostly recurring. The more chips the world makes, period, the more of their consumable materials and filters get used up and need to be replaced. It's the ultimate razor and blades model for the AI age.
You can see this strategy perfectly reflected in their business structure. It's basically built on two pillars that work together: material solutions, which are the actual advanced chemicals, and then advanced purity solutions, which are the filters and delivery systems to keep those chemicals pure. It's a powerful 1-2 punch that makes them indispensable to their customers.
Okay, so let's tie this all together and get to the final verdict. We've seen the tech, we've seen the financials, so how should we be thinking about the opportunity here?
Well, it really boils down to this classic risk-reward balance. On the one hand, the risks are definitely real. It's a super competitive industry, it's cyclical, and it's exposed to all sorts of geopolitical stuff. But on the other hand, the rewards are pretty compelling. Entegris plays a truly indispensable role in AI, they are deeply embedded with their customers, and that resilient, unit-driven revenue model helps smooth out those crazy cycles.
And this leads us to the fundamental investment question, right? The market isn't blind to this. The stock is trading above $130 a share, so you have to ask yourself, is its absolutely critical, non-negotiable role in the future of all computing already baked into that price?
Or let me put it another way. As everyone on the planet rushes to mine for AI gold, have we maybe found the one company that's quietly and very profitably selling all the mission-critical picks and shovels? That is the multi-billion-dollar question.
If you want to go even deeper on all this, the full research audit on Entegris is available from HDIN Research. You can just shoot them an email at sales@hdinresearch.com. Thanks for tuning in.